Okay, let's unpack this. We're taking a deep dive today into something pretty major happening in the Philippines.
Yeah.
It's a complete overhaul, really, of how the government buys things. Goods, services, you name it.
hmm
We're talking about the new Republic Act 12,009, the NGPA, the new Government Procurement Act.
That's the one. It's replacing the old RA 9184
Mm-hmm.
and, it's amendments like CA 138.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fundamental shift.
It really sounds like it, a fundamental shift in how things get done.
Absolutely. We're looking at the processes for, well, everything the Philippine government needs to acquire,
Mm-hmm.
from like basic office supplies all the way up to massive infrastructure projects, stuff that affects everyone.
Exactly. And our mission here for you, the listener, especially if you're keen on, understanding how these things work and pushing for efficiency, transparency,
Yeah.
is to get past the jargon, the legal stuff, and really zero in on the biggest changes. What are the practical implications? What's actually interesting? What matters?
And it's interesting because, look, this isn't just shuffling paperwork around. This new law, it could potentially touch every single area where public money is spent.
That's the core of it, isn't it? Not just admin, but real ripple effects.
Yeah.
Quality of public services, the speed of development. The stated goals are, well, pretty ambitious. Modernize, speed things up, boost transparency.
Big goals.
So with such a huge change,
Yeah.
where do we even start? What's the biggest, most immediate thing jumping out?
Without a doubt, I'd say the biggest immediate shift is the massive push towards digital procurement,
Yeah.
fully digital.
Digital.
It's a huge commitment to electronic processes, basically end to end.
Right. So practically speaking, what does that look like? Online bidding, things like that.
Exactly that. Think online platforms for submitting bids, yeah.
Yeah.
Centralized digital databases for all the info, e-government systems for approvals.
Okay.
The main idea is just using digital tools to speed the whole thing up dramatically and also build in transparency. Auditable digital records.
Built-in audit trails.
Yeah, less paper, much faster turnaround.
Yeah. Less paper. I can only imagine the mountains of it before. It makes sense then that going digital might also make it, well, easier for businesses trying to sell to the government.
Oh, absolutely. They're definitely connected. This digital push goes hand in hand with efforts to standardize things, simplify the whole procurement process.
Standardize.
Yeah, like standard forms, templates for bids. The aim is less complexity, fewer chances for errors or, confusion.
Okay, so less guesswork for companies trying to bid.
Precisely. And importantly, the new law also seems to relax some of the really complex eligibility requirements they had before.
Oh.
The idea there is to lower the barrier to entry, make it easier, especially for micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, to participate.
MSMEs, right. They're such a big part of the economy.
Huge. So making it easier for them could be really significant, a big positive impact.
Lowering that barrier for smaller players. Yeah,
Yeah.
that feels important. Now, thinking about accountability, always a big question with government spending. How does RA 12,009 tackle that?
Yeah, that's clearly a major focus. Transparency gets a serious boost here. The law actually mandates real-time public online access to a whole load of procurement information.
Wait, real-time access. So you mean the public can just log on and see bids and contracts as they're happening?
That's the goal, yes, to make the info readily available. And like we said, these digital systems naturally create those digital trails.
Right, the audit trail.
Which makes it much harder, in theory anyway, to hide irregularities or do dodgy deals when every step is logged and potentially out there for anyone to see.
More eyes on the process.
More eyes, exactly. Increases scrutiny.
Okay. So we mentioned MSMEs getting an easier time. Does the law do anything else to bring in maybe different kinds of businesses, ones that haven't traditionally done government work?
Yes, actually. There's this interesting new thing called innovation partnerships.
Innovation partnerships.
Yeah, it basically lets government agencies actively look for new or innovative solutions, maybe from companies that don't have that long track record of government contracts.
Huh. So it opens the door for fresh ideas, new players.
That seems to be the intent, a way for the government to tap into new tech, new approaches maybe, and for those innovative businesses to get a shot they wouldn't have had before.
Diversify the supplier pool, encourage cutting-edge stuff. Interesting.
Right, widens the net.
Okay, let's talk about something that drives people nuts. Project delays. Government projects taking forever to start, let alone finish. Does this new law address those long timelines?
It definitely tries to. RA 12,009 sets out stricter, more specific timelines for every stage of procurement.
Stricter timelines.
Yeah. The goal is a more predictable, faster workflow. which should mean, projects get finished quicker.
And is there any bite to that? Consequences if deadlines are
Well,
missed?
the law does mention potential penalties for delays that aren't justified. The whole emphasis is definitely on efficiency, getting projects done faster.
Okay, that sounds promising. What about the people inside government managing all this, the procurement officers? Any changes for them?
Oh, absolutely. The main policy body, the GPPB Government Procurement Policy Board, it's still there, but the new law gives it maybe clearer powers and responsibilities.
More definition.
Exactly. And significantly, there are new standards, new certification requirements for the actual procurement officers in the agencies.
So trying to professionalize the role.
That's the idea. Make sure the people handling the buying have the right training, the right expertise, meet certain standards. Should lead to better management overall.
Got it. I also saw something about going green. Is that part of this new law too? Environmental stuff?
Yes, it is, and that's quite a forward-thinking part of it. There are specific green procurement provisions now.
Green procurement.
It basically encourages agencies to prioritize suppliers offering eco-friendly products or using sustainable practices.
So actually building environmental responsibility into government spending.
It's a definite step, yeah, an important one.
Thinking about real world stuff.
Yeah.
What if there's an emergency? A typhoon, an earthquake? Does the law change how they buy essential things quickly?
It does. There are updated rules specifically for emergency procurement.
Okay.
The law tweaks the financial thresholds for using different, faster methods, and it builds in more flexibility for emergencies, things like negotiated procurement, especially for disaster response.
Makes sense. You need speed then.
Absolutely. Recognizes that critical need for speed, for agility when disaster hits. Getting aid fast can save lives.
No question. Okay, so we have all these changes. Digitalization, transparency, speed, green rules. How do they make sure it all actually happens? What about enforcement, stronger penalties?
Yeah, the enforcement side seems beefed up. Tougher penalties for violations, clear rules for blacklisting companies or individuals who don't comply. Accountability is definitely a strong theme.
Right, and this is a huge shift, as we said. How long will it take for agencies to actually get on board with all of this? Is it immediate?
No, it acknowledges the scale. There's a 3-year transition period built in.
3 years.
Yeah, for government agencies to fully adopt and comply with RA 12-9. So it'll be phased in, not an overnight switch.
Okay, a phased rollout makes sense for something this big. So if we had to boil it down, quick summary of the key shifts from RA 12,009 for you listening.
Sure. Key takeaways would be big move to digital systems.
Right. Digital first.
Simpler, standardized rules, trying to make it easier, especially for smaller businesses.
Easier.
A major jump in transparency, that real-time online access idea.
Transparency boost.
Big focus on speeding up the whole process, hitting timelines,
Faster projects.
and folding in sustainability, the green procurement angle.
And green considerations.
Yeah,
That covers the big ones, I think.
that's a good summary. The overall goal, like we said, just a more modern, efficient, accountable system for how the Philippine government buys things. It really is a fundamental change.
It absolutely is. A transformation in how government business gets done.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How will this actually change which businesses win government contracts in the long run? Will we, the public, actually see a difference in how fast big projects get done?
Good question. And, what new challenges or maybe loopholes might pop up around spending and accountability with this new system? Definitely a lot to watch as it unfolds.
For sure. There's a lot there. It would be fascinating to see how this massive change is implemented and, yeah, what the real impact is down the line.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for helping unpack all of that today.
My pleasure. Definitely a significant development to keep an eye on.